Market update here on the 27th. So today was a wild day. Start off higher with Meta gapping up, sell off into the end of the day, and hopefully everyone traded well. It wasn't my best day trading. I tried to catch a falling knife twice, thinking that I knew where it was going to go, and when you get cocky, the market puts you in your place, and that's exactly what happened to me today. I tried to catch a falling knife here at 383-ish, stopped out down here. I did catch right here for puts down to 380, 381, and then I tried to catch a falling knife around 377, 378, thinking, I don't even know what I was thinking, to be honest, because after it broke outside the parallel line, I knew that there was going to be a fourth wave and a fifth wave down, and sure enough, it just sliced right through. The VIX picked up really well. So anyway, it wasn't the best day. I'll just say that for now. Let's get into the charts. And my first thought on this is that potentially this 5-wave move is not finished. So we have 1, 2. You can see the third wave is pretty clear. But this is where it's not clear. We get a 3-day second wave, and then this is only about 7 hours long, and then we go up here. This never looked like a 5-wave move to me anyway, so I'm thinking there's potential that this is actually A, B, C, like that. So that was correct. We got a ABC move, A down here, and then we got the move that worked out perfectly right here. We have A, B, C right here, and I'm thinking there's potential this is A, and then we get A, B, C, B, and then the C wave higher here, that would be the overall B wave, and then we get this 5-wave move down that ends around the start of A. If this is a fourth wave, then that's an ABC move. That's a completion right there. So if that is the case, this would be the overall fourth wave, and we would look for a 5-wave move to new highs. Something like that. And then we would start a fourth wave. So that's the first possibility that I see on this chart. The second possibility is that we did complete the fifth wave up here, and we are starting the fourth wave down. If that's the case, then this could be a bunch of different things. It could be a first, second wave. So we could be looking at something like this. And my target for that would probably be somewhere in the mid 360s. No, probably longer than that. Maybe like low 360s would be my target if that were valid. Or we're looking at this as a B and we're looking for a C wave. And I would be looking for probably just down here to like 372 or 368. But I'll tell you why that doesn't really make sense. Unless we get an extended fifth wave. If this was a 5-wave move right here and we're only going down to 368, then the third wave would go all the way down to 369. We'd probably go all the way down here to the low 360s, and that would be farther than the 1.61 fib of the A wave. So that narrows it down to two possibilities. It's either a fourth wave here and we go higher, or it's a 5-wave move and we have 1, 2, something like that. And if we zoom out here, remember we're looking for a deep move. So that would take us all the way down to like the 0.23 fib. We'd bounce and we'd go lower. So I have no bias either way on this move. The one thing that I can tell you though is we are likely to bounce tomorrow. We held the daily demand exactly, like literally hit the bottom of it. and it completed 5 waves from what I see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it on the 5-minute time frame pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so the one thing I can say is that it is likely unless this happens. Unless we go down here to 373 and then bounce. If we're going to bounce from here, we're going to go back up to a minimum of 379.95, potentially all the way up here to like 382, 383, and that would be a second wave, or we get a 5-wave move to new highs. So tricky day. I didn't trade good today. I'll come back tomorrow and hopefully obey my own rules and trade better. Tesla, another reason why I think we are ready to bounce is Tesla. Well, not one of the reasons, but what I think is going to happen. This could be a nested move, and if it is a nested move, then it would look like this. 1, 2, we'd be in the third wave, and then we'd just be going down to 245. This would look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'd probably go a lot lower than that actually. The third wave would be like this, and that would just mean that this was a very short X wave, I would say. So it would be basically actually W, X, Y lower. But just looking at the overall move on QQQ, I just think with Apple earnings coming up and we have Amazon earnings still, we could sell off into them. Maybe we will sell off into them down here to 360. But if we look at the Apple chart, this does not look very impulsive to me. So I have a thought that this is probably going to go higher into earnings, but we will see. So Tesla, if this is a B wave, then I would just look for something back up here to the top of 272. This basically hit the 1.61 fib of the, if this is ABC, it hit it basically perfectly. So I would say it's ready to bounce, or you're going to get continuation through daily demand. We are in daily demand though, so I would lean towards a bounce. And also there was a lot of puts built up way below towards the low. I think they're probably going to try to burn those. So look for a bounce on QQQ, look for a bounce on Tesla, potentially a new high on QQQ if we do get a fifth wave here instead of that being the fifth wave. And I don't expect Tesla to go that much higher than 272 just based on how far this went down. And then after that, we should see a new low. So this might take another 7 days. Like I talked about the B wave taking until August 7th. This could take probably to like August 3rd, August 4th, something like that. So again, Apple, I haven't done the charting on this in a long time. I should be more up to date on all these tech stocks, but just looking at this overall move, again, this does not look impulsive to me. So I would just look for something maybe down here to this gap fill at 190 if it does go down a little bit more. And then I would look for a bounce. And this looks impulsive to me as well. It's possible it topped out here and it's just ABC and we're starting a correction. Could be ABC, bounce, and then come down lower. So we'll just watch it tomorrow and see, but this does not look like an impulse move to me. Let's go over Meta. So I don't know if I talked in the video yesterday about Meta, but I was talking about how it gapped up here. 322 needed to be filled. And sure enough, it filled that gap, and I said that it was probably going to sell off after that. So that actually plays into the scenario where on QQQ we pull back and then we get a big move down. 272 comes from that being the 1.61 fib of AB. So we'll see if that plays out like that. Let me zoom in here a little bit though and just make sure this is not a fourth wave. Looks pretty impulsive to me. So yeah, I think this might be a B wave right here. We're starting a 5-wave move down. So look for potential bounce tomorrow. It did complete 5 waves basically. Maybe a bounce back up here to 317, 319 back into demand or supply, and then another sell-off. So looking at these charts so far, looks to me like Meta might sell off after a bounce. Tesla, kind of undecided, but I'm leaning towards a bounce. And we can actually look at the standard deviation to show you where we're at. So on the 15-minute time frame, we are way below 2 standard deviations. See how we got to the top right here, down to the bottom. I think it's due for a bounce. It's also oversold. On Apple, let's try hourly. So on the hourly on Apple though, it is at the very bottom of the standard deviation too. Look what happened last time it was there. So now let's look at Meta. Meta is probably not going to be at the bottom. And I just like the standard deviation because it's another way of just verifying that there's a likelihood that you're going to get a bounce. I don't know why this isn't coming up. Let's try 15 minute. Okay, not going to work on this one, I guess. Weird. Let me change this. Okay, so yeah, on Meta, we're still at the very top. So Meta might sell off, but Apple is looking good. Tesla is looking good, both on the hourly and on the 15-minute. Tesla on the 1-hour time frame is down towards the bottom too. QQQ is on the hourly also getting towards the bottom. And let's see when the last time it was at the bottom. So we're pretty much lower than we have been since May 24th. So this is the biggest, lowest we've been on the standard deviation on the hourly. On the 4-hour, we're still pretty high. Let's see if it pulls up here. Okay, well, it's not pulling up. Let's go over Microsoft now. Microsoft, I think it's in the final stages of this move down, and it could even be complete. It's kind of an unorthodox 5-wave move. This barely gets outside of there, and then this comes back here. Could be a third wave where we're getting a nested move, but comes outside the parallel line, bounces, and goes lower. You never know. It's down here towards the bottom of where the A wave started. So it started right here. We have A, B, C. It could be finished too. It's sold off now. And look how far below it is of the standard deviation. Like its lowest it's been since April 26th at 276. So look what happened after that. Gap up. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards a 5th wave higher, I think, just looking at all the standard deviations on this. And of course, I'm looking for the bounce to 380 to 381. And I'm not really that worried about it. And also, again, another way of looking at this on the standard deviation, the VIX, the last time it was outside of the top was in July, and it came all the way back down to the bottom. comes down to the bottom now, that's going to be at 12. So there's a lot of reasons for this to bounce tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Last thing I'll look at is the dollar. And the dollar got a nice bounce today. And it's kind of following the path that I laid out a long time ago. Top of the standard deviations. I haven't looked at this in a while, but the fourth wave is playing out pretty much perfectly. So, yeah, we're due for a fifth wave lower, according to my chart from probably a couple weeks ago. And let me zoom out even more. Let me move this. So sorry if I have this up too high. I think some people were talking. I had a guy comment saying it was too bright. So it looks to me like this is a five-wave move. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that's the case, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My target's been 93 for a while, but this is showing that it should fall tomorrow. Not necessarily tomorrow, but soon. And yeah, if it comes outside this parallel line tomorrow, that would be the third wave confirmation, bounce and go lower. So I think that and look at that. That's like kind of a perfect. This might be ABC higher, and then we should fall off. We'll see. It's at the very top, and look what happened last time it was at the top. Let's go to the 4 hour and look at where it's at. 4 hour is kind of in the middle, can come down. Hourly, it is, again, getting close to the top. So the dollar is looking primed to go down lower. We'll see what happens. There is a demand zone still down here at 93.59. That's kind of my target overall. So quick summary of what I just talked about. Two possibilities. The fifth wave is not finished. We go higher. In that case, my target would probably be, I don't know, target would be it might only just come up here a little bit higher than the B wave. So maybe like 390 to 394, something like that. But probably not going to go up here to 400. It could, but probably 390, 395. And then if we are looking at this as a second wave, there's potential for it to go all the way down to, let's see, 368. I would be looking for like 360. So 360 if it's a five wave move. If it's the fifth wave higher, we're going to like 390, 395. Tesla again can bounce this way. It could be a nested move lower. I would predict that it's going to bounce. Apple, very bottom of the standard deviations on the hourly. Earnings next week, I would imagine it's going to bounce. Meta, the opposite. It's at the very top. Well, now it's getting lower. It's probably going to come down here and bounce. Could bounce early tomorrow and then come down lower. But we'll see how that goes because this gap was kind of hard to read. It sold off after a while, but it could be a C wave lower to 272. Microsoft is probably one of the ones you want to be in over the next couple of weeks. This fourth wave is getting closer and closer to being finished. Could finish tomorrow. Could already be finished. We could wake up to a green day for Microsoft. So watch out on that one. VIX should be coming down. Dollar should be coming down. That's it. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about the chart. You think we're going to go higher or lower? I have no bias either way on this chart. The only thing I think is that we're going to at least get a bounce to 380 to potentially 383. So somewhere in this range first, bounce out of this demand zone, and then from there, we'll see if it comes up here and fills this gap at 385.34. This is not a gap fill. It looks like it on a higher time frame. On lower time frames, it did not fill the actual gap. So I'm leaning towards higher, but we will see what happens. Anyway, have a good night. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll catch you tomorrow with more updates.